And we're live with two people already here. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Atlassian Clinic. At some point, I'll add fun things that'll show up, overlays. We're just totally not there yet. We're working on it. I could do that, but I could have it be the logo. So many options, but I'm definitely still working through stuff. We're trying out Restream today to see if that gives us a better experience over other options like StreamYard, etc. What I like about Restream is that if we want, we can move to doing things like doing this in a Zoom and then having everybody be a part of the Zoom and more easily sort of bring them in to the group and in chat. So that's definitely a possibility. Got four folks here. Folks, go ahead and shout out that you're here. Really excited to have everybody here with us today. I gotta also come up with some music for the clinic. That would be fun. But yeah, if you're here, if you're excited, if you're who you are, let us know. Say hi, say hello. I'm gonna make sure what's going on over on the tubes. Make sure it looks good. Let's see. Says we're live now. That means from Twitch. Hair, where'd the hair go? Cut it off. Cut off all the hair for a hair not found. It's true. It's true. The hair is not found. All went away. Just decided to cut it out. Well, end off. Effectively. All right. Who's over here? Let's see. Who do we all have? It's interesting the way that this works. Oh, there's Lori. Lori, you can hear me, but no, I would not be able to hear you. That's normal. Because you're watching a stream, you're not in a Zoom or something, I would not be able to hear you. I can see your post though. So that is what's expected. Lori, Rodney, and me are the three that are here over here. Cool, cool. We have 6 folks showing up now. Oh, more people. Oh, Rodney, you hear words about a CLC. Yeah, we should probably do a little bit of a promo here up at the top. I'm sure, well, of course you've heard words about it, Rodney, because it's almost like you've got a partner that's been working on this. Yeah, say hello in the chat. Oh, hey, Mabel, welcome. Exciting. Currently, we have one logo exactly that Alex worked out. Let me just share with folks and we'll have a quick chat about it because it is very exciting. Oh, that was our call for speakers. Man, Alex is too good. Too many things he does. Oh, that's a whole page. I don't understand. Why do carousels have to be so complicated? Why can't I just make the carousel bigger instead of it turning the whole page into something else? Anyway, what we're doing. What are we doing? Let me share. All right, here we go. We have a new group that has some cool images that I haven't shown anybody yet. Maybe I'll give you guys a preview detail of that as well. But let me share my screen here. Cool. That's actually really dim. Of course, it does it that way. Fine. Fine. Actually, no, that's fine. Let's do this. I'm learning how to use every tool. Every tool is a practice. All right, add a media screen. There we go. And now we'll share that window. Woohoo! The Atlassian Builder Summit. It gets bigger here. There we go. So there's no fun pictures yet, but we're doing some amazing stuff at the Builder Summit this year. We're going to be doing, we've got an event coming up here October 22nd. It's actually going to run from the 22nd to the 24th. Why does it say from 4 to 5 p.m.? Arg. I have to fix things, but it's actually October 22nd through the 24th. And that event is going to be in Long Beach, California at the Hilton Long Beach, the beautiful, majestic Hilton Long Beach. And that event is a 3-day technical summit for folks who administer, develop against, and use Atlassian products. So we're talking about technical program managers, engineering managers, Atlassian administrators, developers who use Atlassian products. That's the folks, or for folks who want to develop for Atlassian platforms and do more of that. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be having the Atlassian Builder Summit. I have to fix these dates here. October 22nd. There we go, all the way to October 25. There we go. Publish the update. Sure. Why not? But yes, it's going to be we're working with Atlassian Community Events Orange County, Atlassian Community Events Los Angeles, the Jira Life, myself, Alex, and Atlassian. And so this show too, technically. We're going to have 3 tracks: Forge, Atlassian Product Administration, and Agile Project Management. We've got a call for speakers out. If folks are interested, you should make sure. Oh, right. How do I do that? How do I grab it? Ah! Don't break things, Bryan. But come, sign up. It's free. We made it free. With working with Atlassian, we were able to make the whole thing free, which is super exciting. No longer does anybody need to pay to attend. Instead, it's just the hotel that you're going to pay for. And other than that, it will be free. And we're so excited for this event. Alex and I had an idea on a call, and now it's coming true. So, who's Lord Psycho 202? I'm really excited by that name. Who are you, Lord Psycho? We're going to be working on some logos. We got a bunch of really cool things coming, a bunch of perks for folks who attend, including something that we're going to be calling the Big Atlassian book, which is going to be really, really cool. A physical magazine filled with really cool information about Atlassian and Atlassian people that'll only be available to the folks who attend. And we're about to be putting out the information about the block of hotel rooms at the Hilton Long Beach. Please make sure that you register ASAP, because if you register, then you will get the first set of knowledge about the block of rooms, probably 8 to 12 hours before everybody else does. So make sure that you sign up. Again, registration here is free. Please take care of that ASAP. Please do, though, RSVP if you're coming. Don't RSVP if you're not coming. Hi, Lena. Good to see you. All right. Got 4 people on the stream. Cool. That's great. What are folks thinking about today? Like, what? We were going to work on something for specific person who's out of town. I think it may not be available today because I hadn't checked with them, because I had to reschedule. Actually, Susan Waldrop. That's a couple of notes I want to make. Due to some changes in my schedule, we will be moving the Wednesday stream from it'll move from noon to 4 to 2 to 5, maybe 2 to 6 p.m. I'm working out that last bit, Pacific time. So let's go back to me. I'm cooler. I'm a much nicer thing to look at, I think. 2 to 5 p.m. On Thursdays or on Wednesdays. So then launching next Friday, we'll be launching Forge Fridays, which will be running um, from, let's see, what time we're going to run that from. Friends, I decide these things on the fly because it's basically just me getting to decide when these things happen. Forge Fridays, we will have some fun guests who will help folks both do some basic setup if you've never used Forge before, like setting up your environment, getting a tour of the CLI environment, those sort of things. But then we'll also be bringing folks on who are developers who are able to offer their time and share information for folks so that you're able to learn how to do some development, Forge development. This goal is to empower people, and also folks will be able to bring your questions as always, and we'll work through those questions live right here on the show as always. So Forge Fridays will start to run probably from 1 maybe 1 to 5 p.m. starting August 1st, 2025. Trello Tuesday always could be a thing. We could get there. That's very true with the clinic. Also, I think all of this is subject to change as the world does what the world does. But we're going to be looking at hopefully starting on maybe the 11th. I'm going to work out timing here. The 5th or the 11th, the 4th or the 11th, we'll be bringing in Marketplace Mondays, which is where we'll go deep on 1 to 2 marketplace apps each week. Folks will be able to nominate if there's ones that they want to go over. Folks are welcome to also just come and we'll see what we have on the table. But the idea is oftentimes folks have questions about those apps. So we can dig into those apps. But if we don't have questions, we'll pick an app and we'll just go dig into it and see what it can do. So our goal here is to continue to provide more stuff to you all. Trello Tuesdays could very much fit in at the moment. I'm saving my Tuesdays for life. Tuesdays and Thursdays currently are Bryan Has a Life. How much longer I have a life, who knows? But with all that being said, here we are. Hello, 7 people. I feel special, very special. What's on folks' minds today? What are things that folks want to look at? Let me go check to see if we've got any stuff in the hopper here. In tally. Ooh, are these the same ones we had before? From 15th, then the 16th to... we talked through both of those, right? Yeah, we talked through all of these, which is great. Cool. As a reminder to folks, if you need to share something out, you can always share. I'll put this up here too, Marketplace Mondays. And then also... Also, one more thing that I'll plug. There's not a whole bunch of you on here, but you're the best people. And we're a little behind this week, but it's going to be coming today. And then I'll have another issue back out on Monday. But sign up for the unofficial roundup. Atlassian Ecosystem Roundup. We will be dropping this week's edition today, and then I'll drop another edition on Monday. I wanted to make sure that I had a chance to go ahead and do my slightly hot takes. my bias takes. So I wanted to just give a little bit more time to get those in. I was traveling this week. We'll be working on making sure that that doesn't fall behind in the future. So a bunch of excellent stuff for folks to grab onto. Um, uh, One day I'll have a page where you can find all of these links. We're not there yet. We're still growing every single day, becoming real people. But as we hop into Atlassian stuff today, does anybody have anything on their mind that they'd like to talk about related to Atlassian products? Any struggles you're having, any problems, anything like that? And what we might start to try and do, and we'll see maybe how this goes today, is that if we can do it easily enough, I can just bring you in to the event. And so you can come on and we can chat. And that way, it's not just only my face the whole time. And it makes you all feel a little bit more alive and engaged. So, anybody got anything? What are we thinking? Nobody? Nobody has anything? There might be things sitting over on LinkedIn that I can't see. I know, like, there's certain. I think LinkedIn, though, I do get LinkedIn posts now, LinkedIn comments from folks. Let me just check. Yeah, there's not any comments over on the LinkedIn stuff right now. So nobody, you don't have anything? Just confirming that nobody has anything that they want to check out or take a look at. I do have one thing that we can work on. Um, but if I would like to do it if Susan is here, but if not, we can still get it going. I'll check one more place. We might have some stuff sitting in the hopper for folks who signed up through the ACE. And I might have registration info there that folks dropped anything in. Let's see here. Okay. Surveys, responses. All right, so I do love the way, I mean, I don't love the way that it does this. It does not actually tell me anything. Oh, this is just the boring survey. Okay, well, no, a bunch of people who signed up. Some of you are here. Rovo actions. Can we check out Rovo actions? Still do not understand Rovo actions, Lena. Of course we can. Rodney, let's clean up fields by combining them. We can also do that. Um, okay, so let's get into my one Atlassian environment. Let's switch over to the demo. Cool. In a little bit, probably in about 15 minutes, we'll take maybe about 30 minutes. We'll take a break. I have to let dogs out of their pen or their crate. So, robo actions that you give agents. Lena, is this from let's start with Studio. Okay. Do I have Studio here? Yeah. So Studio is becoming a whole thing where Atlassian's bringing automation together. News hubs is a thing that you can build, which is I think the way that they're doing, like the information hub in Confluence, uh, and and assets. They're bringing all of this together here. So in agents, all right. And if I'm creating an agent, so let's just do a little bit of let's take a look here and let's start with where I always love to start, which is documentation. So agents, create and edit robo agents. Okay. So you're trying to understand what they are so you can build your own with Forge. Okay. So actions are choose a list of available actions for your agent. And more about actions. Robo agent actions are what they use to take their response and do something with. So actions are both. So when you're thinking about them, yeah, let's talk about this because actions are effectively words that tie to a function, I believe, Lena. Oh, hi, Disney. I want to set up an automation or robo agent to triage actions round robin based on a calendar of who's in office that day. Is that doable? Yeah, should be. You will probably, let's take a look here. Um, all right, so Forge actions. What are actions when it comes to Forge? Here we go. An action module lets a robo agent perform a specific task, like calling an API or running predefined code. So actions are functions, when it comes to Forge. So the name of the some things are silly. For example, the name of the um of the action is a human friendly name, which was displayed in the interface, and the action verb is the verb that best relates your represents your action. So get, create, update, delete, or trigger. That does not mean that you're actually doing it. So like these are trying to genericize that concept in here. Um, and so an action is effectively, from a Forge perspective, a function. And I'm sure that that's the way that they're using it in Studio too. Effectively, an action is a thing that you can do. They've built those functions in like Studio inside of the actions that you have. Um, let's just go skip to manual setup. All right, because what you're going to do is I'm going to edit actions, and what are the options that I have for actions? Are all of these things, which are all effectively functions behind the scenes. Whether it's a function that is using um, Rovo code, like Gen AI code, LLM backend to do things, or if it's like a deterministic action like add a comment to a page that's doing a specific thing. Um, so those are sort of what actions are. Um, and today, third party agent actions are in beta because because the Rovo agent stuff is in beta. So when we're building Rovo agents, what we're doing is there's the prompt that gives the general concept. It can be a string or as a relative path to a declared resource. So you can tell it what it can do, and then you actually are setting what the actions are, like fetch all risks. And fetch all risks would very specifically be like getting the risks from the project, that sort of thing. Okay, some of the studio stuff did not work. You tried using priority one and it didn't work. So do you mean like you went in here, you went to Jira and you said update the work, like for example, update work item priority? Um and it didn't update the work items priority? Because one of the things that's going to happen here is, okay, so let's say actually, one of the best things that we can do here, I'll show one of the cool things we can do is actually let's browse the agents that Atlassian has. And let's find one. There we go. Service triage. One of the cool things about Atlassian agents, hold on, come back. Oh, where'd it go? I can duplicate this agent. And when I duplicate the agent in Studio, I can now see the way that Atlassian built this agent, and I can make modifications to the agent. So this is a great way to think about how it's working. So here, what we're doing here is this is the description. And as we sort of walk through the steps here, this is the identity of the agent. So who is it? How does it work? In the general section, all right, here's the instructions that Atlassian gave this agent, right? Like you can see how detailed they get with the instructions here, right? So the context that you give it is really key here. You're a service desk agent with many years of experience. You operate in two modes, automation mode and conversation mode. In automation mode, you behave as a computer programming language function. You take input, a question, and your output is the information requested in the format requested in the other information. Typically, this means responses of a single word or number. In automation mode, you do not engage in conversation. You do not any use other words in the terse response to the question you are asked. So, this is how you switch back and forth. This is how you tell it to do what it's supposed to do. If you're unsure, switch to the conversation mode. Invoke content read plugin. So, that instruction is telling you to use a plugin. And I bet, let's take a look here. So more on instructions. I would probably read more there because here's what it's doing here. Like, look at this. This is so interesting. You can see it here. Invoke content read plugin is going to be the way that it reads a page. If there's no current issue and the user is not mentioned or respond with, I currently perform actions on single issues as conversation mode. Please call me from an issue view or tell me which issue you want me to consider. If you're asked to suggest a similar issue or list similar issues or simply similar issues, do the following. Invoke that current page to read it. Invoke similar issues in project plugin to find all similar tickets. Use issue key to make issue URL. Like, this is just telling it exactly what to do. So use the key of the issue to make a URL in of the similar issue present in the response. For example, issue URL will be host browse issue key. Get host from current issue URL. So you're just telling it what to do here, right? If you're asked to suggest a priority, here we go. Here's these plugins that it's using. All of these things are here. So so here are the actions that can be used. So like if you're asked to suggest a priority, let's look here. Okay, invoke the suggest priority plugin. Bam. That's what that plugin is. Read content item has got to be summarize the current work item, probably, or something like that. So what you're learning as you look at this, and could it be clearer? Probably. Like if I look at this action here, what happens if I choose that? Like it doesn't give me, well, I can't change it right now, apparently. But like it doesn't tell me what that thing is. Now let me go if I look up instructions here. Yeah. Like there's some things here that could be improved because it talks about these plugins and we don't really understand what these plugins are. Like if I search content, knowledge base, Rovo. Yeah, it doesn't help me. Product documentation. Right, Rovo chat. So yeah, I think there is a thing here where to some degree you could probably tell it like they're using their internal language, but you could say if you selected and like you would say, if you're asked to suggest a similar issue, like invoke the summarized work item or and read the current page. If you wanted to triage automatically, how are you going to do that? Well, in automation mode, if you wanted it to triage automatically without your engagement, you would probably you would put it in an automation. You would create an automation in Studio, add this agent, and tell it to operate in automation mode, I believe. So, like, let's take a look here. Let's imagine we want to triage and employee onboarding. So, here we go. Like, use Rovo agent to triage bugs. There's a template, and what it's doing here is when a bug is created, a Rovo agent is so then you're going to set what the type of it is, right? We'll call it task in this place just for them because that's what we're going to be doing as we're just then use the Rovo agent. So I'm going to connect to the Rovo agent, the bug report assistant. Analyze so then I'm going to use triage. Service triage. And the prompt would be, I mean, interestingly, it uses a different thing. I see. Triage bugs in this case, it just wants you to like analyze the bug. Triage means something a little bit different in this case, I think. Like this is so yeah. So you just have it, you put it here, you give it the prompt, and then and then the agent response, you have it run. In the future, agents will do things on their own. I think agents, the way at this point, what I imagine is that agents do things on their own, controlled by automation. So you could set this. This is currently trigger based, like from a specific thing happening, but you could simply change this trigger. Add a trigger, which is just let's see. You can just run a scheduled one, right? So it does it automatically every hour. Like I mean maybe in the future there'll be a situation where hi Yeshaya, how are you? Why do you love me? Um but I don't know if in the future you're just going to tell it like you're still going to have to tell it to start doing something. So yeah, I think that's the way it will work. And I think the way you're going to do this is you're going to say start doing this every so often, or again, like we're always going to want to give it a trigger because we're going to want to know why is it doing it. And so I might be like, whenever there's a vulnerability found, run, right? Whenever a worker's added to Workday, automatically kick yourself off. Work item triggers, when you get a new one or any of that stuff, or in guard detect, right? Content scanning alert, bam. I found something that shouldn't be in Jira, right? Automatically remediate it, send an email to the user, create a ticket, bam, all of those things. So I do think that we're probably always going to be using triggers as our triages here. And and you can see that in the Rovo agents over here too, when you look at the code. You can, no, because that'll be in the automation piece. You can write a Rovo agent that will then be added in there through a workflow, because there's also currently an automation action EAP where you can write a trigger and then calls a function. And I'm pretty sure that your action provider can be your Rovo agent. Can the Rovo agent reference a calendar in Confluence to check for tech availability? Yeah, probably. I mean, how would we do that? Really simply. So, well, okay. How would the Rovo agent check that? Um, what would be your trigger? Your trigger is if it's in triage. Can the Rovo agent reference a calendar in Confluence to check for tech availability? Well, let's look at what. This is where we're going to look at what the actions are that are available. So let's just look at the actions here. No. I'm not okay. So no, not from Studio. It can't read a calendar that way, as far as I can tell. Let's see though. Let's see if they've created anything here. So okay. But all of these, let's see. Oh, well, let's see. Uh yeah, because one of the problems that you will run into very truly is that view agent. Here we go. Okay. Identify recent activities. So you're going to use the JQL plugin, classify the activities in a topic. Let's see. I don't see if I see it cal in. No, there's nothing about. Well, I can't type. Nothing about. Oh, calendar. There's recall. Oh, that's just me writing calendar there. Yeah. So I don't see that currently there's a thing to read a calendar. But let's go check. Let me check something here from a code perspective. Um, Let me just go check something. I need to build my own API. Like I need to build my own reference documents for the Forge API, but Atlassian Forge API. That's the fetch API, right? Which is what I really want. Request Confluence. So with request Confluence, I can call almost any API I want. So now what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go take a look and look at the Confluence Cloud REST APIs. Content. Content types. Content properties. I want to. What I really want to find out here, and let me just search team calendar. Yeah. Of course. Oh, I'm so unsurprised. That said, ooh, look at that. Nothing. Nothing, 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 nothing. But here it is. There we go. Okay, you can sync your favorite calendar application contacts and features like Calendar support for Confluence team calendars. That's data center only. Okay, yeah. So I don't even know. Hmm. So like, okay, so you might be able to get. Okay, so if you're using JSM calendars, you can probably get it. You can schedule on calls, right? Is that what you'd be using? And can you embed that calendar in? Um, I don't even know. Can you embed on call calendar Jira in Confluence? Probably. Yeah. Okay, so that's all running behind the same thing. So okay, yeah, so you could actually. What you would do is you would use the Jira Service Management REST API, and you would look. You could list schedules or you could get schedules. So you'd use the fetch API inside of a Rovo agent action, um, to do that. What would that look like? That would look like I want to find the actions as a developer. Right, so using a hosted forward function, we would do something like this. And let's just go to, yeah, at the moment you'd have to write a forge agent action. But what you could do is you could say the key, the function, the action verb, and then you're going to write your function and you're going to call your function in your other file like you normally do in that index. And then that's going to contain your function. You're going to use a Jira function. Actually, what you're going to do, sorry, you're going to use a, whatever they call it, comment modules. Or yeah, it's the fetch function. Like you're going to use the fetch function to get. I always forget where they put that. There you go, the fetch API. There we go. Yep, you're going to use the fetch. You're going to write a fetch API function. Request Jira. You can use request Jira in your function and go get it and basically use that to get the information as app or as user. No, I mean no code. So no code agents are limited to the actions that exist today. I think that's the big thing to note is like when you're thinking about doing no code agents, you want to think about what actions exist out in the world today. Um, uh, and you're going to use actions while chatting with an agent. Yeah, so today you're going to be limited by the actions that exist. I think they're just agent actions. Is there a list somewhere? I actually think um like Atlassian keeps posting new ones, and one of the things that I'm not sure about is whether let's go to community. Oh, not Cobham, but it worked. That's funny. All right. Connect. Online community. A lot of announcements get pushed into here. So I want actions. Ooh, somebody asked this. What's the status here? Yeah, they don't. Yep, they're right. So what I would be like is new Rovo agent actions. Announcements? Articles probably. Oh, that's helpful. Yeah, that is probably the case. No code agents are limited, but they're limited by the number of actions that they have. Otherwise, you're limited by what you can tell them to do, right? Like if you can explain it in language and there's an action that exists that lets them do that, like you can do a lot with just creating a Confluence page, right? You can do a lot with creating a Jira issue or editing a Jira issue. Like those actions that exist here in the studio are pretty broad. So that's automation. That's not what I meant to do. Agents, browse agents. Yeah. So because I'll just duplicate the agent so I can get into the action list really quick here. Like creating a page or adding comment to a page. Like partially what's happening here is like, look at this, find me similar job postings. It's going to search. It's going to find, like, it's going to do a bunch of web searching and like all of this stuff, right? And then the action is creating a page. Well, there's a lot you can do inside of creating a page, right? So in the instructions, you're telling it what it's going to do inside of that page. And so your actions are, there's actually a decent number here, right? Add a card to a Trello board, comment on a PR. They're very generic, but what that means is that anything it can reasonably have access to from an informational perspective around that, anything you've connected it to, if you've given it web search capabilities, like all of those things, all it has to do then is use these actions to build whatever you're asking to. So find incidents. Okay, all of the incidents. Yeah. Well, if you're gonna do multiple actions, yes, exactly. That's very true. Yep. Yeah, and you can even see like blocker checker automatically, like it's tied into an automation so that it's going to check regularly for blockers, and then it's going to like do X, Y, or Z when you look at the way that that works. So yeah, you're still writing code. That's why we're going to teach everybody how to write code. But the good thing is that we can use all of our favorite friends to help us write code. That's one of my other projects I want to work on, which is yeah. So the Rovo agent. So yes, I mean a Rovo agent can check a Forge Rovo agent can check the calendar. Yes, and it's not that hard. I mean, you can write an agent. Yeah, you can do that, or wait for them to do one. That's true. Who is Team Disney, by the way? Which person is that? Is that Alex, or is it somebody else? Tell me who you are. Any other questions about actions and sort of the way that they operate? What was I coming over here to look at? I did turn it on. Yeah, turn it on. Yep. I want my beta features. Yeah. Not Alex. Gotta tell Alex. Yeah, there's another Disney fan. Ooh, you can now. Interesting new thing. Login page. You can customize your login page. And you can control whether users see third party login options or not on the page. Interesting. Where was I going to look at something? There's right. Somewhere in here. And maybe somebody I don't remember where it is. Where do I see Product updates. Probably called apps now, I bet. Yep. There we go. What's coming soon? What's complete? I don't want that. I want coming soon. Rolling out. Planned. So we can see this information now. This is always very helpful information to understand what's coming to like your site specifically. How they, and doesn't show analytics, guard detect, Rovo dev agents, goals, Loom, focus, projects, talent, or Rovo release notes. Well, there we go. Where are Atlassian Rovo release notes? I don't know. This is always really fun. Atlassian still does this thing where there's like 14 different places to find information, and none of it is centralized. That's what I'm trying to do with the roundup. So you can learn some things from the changelog here. There's a new CLI is now built in, or the beta dev is built into CLI. I don't know if I updated to that yet. It's also wild to update the CLI. You have to technically you have to uninstall and reinstall. All right, we got 7 folks sitting over there in YouTube land. Got 1 person on our Twitch page. Always appreciated. All right. Anybody else have anything? What we're going to do, think about some thoughts that you might have about things that we might take a look at next. What I am going to do briefly is go ahead and just, which one is this? Oh, no, not that one. We will be right back in just about, let me throw up, let me do this. Okay, this will be fun. We'll use this, we'll go timer. We'll be nice to everyone. Give ourselves 15 minutes. Let's start the timer. No, again, there is no world where I can just full screen the thing I want to full screen. Of course not. But, oh, there we go. That's one way to do it. And then I can throw the be right back over it. Oh, that doesn't work quite as well. Well, what if I do it this way? There we go. After these messages, we'll be right back. Let's take 15.
He's better at school than me, and he's captain of the team, and he's kind and love. I'm at this restaurant now. We barely touch both our plates. Our fingers touch when he pays. And on the street, it kisses my cheek, and I say, I appreciate that. Why did I say that? I tell my friends that I think he's the one. In just a week that felt like 3, I think it's love. And when I dip my toes in what this could become, it's cold, but I'm not freezing. I'm jumping in the deep end. He wants to be the president. I write songs about him. When he smiles, I gleam. He messes up my sleep schedule, calls me Wedito, and I ask what that means. Everybody wants to be him, everybody wants to be his, everybody wants to be where I am in his dorm right now. And I overthink the first kiss, I want a good tale for our kids. And on his cue, he plays Grease too, 'cause I have never seen it. And that's when I went head. I tell my friends that I think he's the one. In just a month, I think it's love. He's just so odd. And maybe I give in to some convincing love bomb. Oh, he's just amazing. We dance to righteous brothers and I wanna cry. I'm jealous of the future me that makes it mine. And everything we can see this wasted time finally has a reason. Jumping in the deep end. And I show him all my favorite songs, and he turns it up, it turns me on. Cut my tongue in his cheek, and he's looking right at me like I saved him. And he's honest about his past mistakes, and I'm not scared, I'll say the wrong thing. Got his name in forever, shout remarkable together, so I fight it. I meet his family for the very first time, and as we're leaving, they pull him off to the side. When he gets in the car, I ask him, was it nice? Wait, no, I don't wanna know. He says, I can't say I can show you though. We're getting older, but the love stays young. He cancels meetings to make time for you. Know what? We say I miss you after 3 minutes apart. And he says we should change that. And so we did, and now I wake up and he's there. I'm his first gentleman and he's my biggest fan. One night he takes me to the restaurant where we met, and then he gets real quiet. He reaches in his pocket. I say yes before he asks it. And he says back, I appreciate that. I tell my friends that I am so in love, 'cause we let it go. I'll text that I'll be here in the show. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I don't know how to love, but maybe I do. Maybe you know more than me, but this much is true. This little heart and brain of mine say we're through with you. And I wonder, does it blow your mind that I'm leaving you far behind? And I wonder, does it stop your heart to know you're not my sunshine anymore? Okay, you're pretty, your face is a work of art. You're not the light of New York City after dark. Okay, you're cover boy pretty, stand for the beauty mark. But it's such a pity, your boy's so pretty with an ugly heart. Baby, you'll get married and she will kiss your feet. While I'll give all my rights away, I won't lose no sleep. Baby, on your honeymoon, you'll think of me. But if you don't, won't shed a tear, yeah, I can guarantee. And I wonder, does it blow your mind that I'm leaving you far behind? I wonder, does it stop your heart to know you're not my sunshine anymore? Your face is a work of art. It's not the light of New York City after dark. Okay, you're cover boy pretty, stand for the beauty mark. But it's such a pity, your boy's so pretty. Well, with an ugly heart. Okay, you're pretty, your face is a work of art. Your smile could probably light up New York after dark. Okay, you're cover boy pretty, stand for the beauty mark. But it's such a pity, a boy so pretty with an ugly heart. An ugly heart. Okay, you're pretty, your face is a work of art. It's not the light of New York City after dark. Okay, you're cover boy pretty, stand for the beauty mark. But it's such a pity, a boy so pretty. Yeah, well, with an ugly heart. Okay, you're pretty, your face is a work of art. It's not the light of New York City after dark. Okay, you're cover boy pretty, stand for the beauty mark. But it's such a pity, a boy so pretty, with an ugly heart. Standing in a crowded room and I can see your face. Just put your arms around me, tell me everything's okay. In my mind I'm running around a cold and empty space. Just put your arms around me, tell me everything's okay. Break my bones, but you won't see me fall. Oh, the rising tide will rise against them all. Oh, darling, hold my hand. Oh, won't you hold my hand? 'Cause I don't wanna walk on my own anymore. Don't you understand? Then I don't wanna walk alone. I'm ready for this. There's no denying. I'm ready for this. You stop me falling. I'm ready for this. I need you all in. I'm ready for this. So darling, hold my hand. It's like a melting pot when you're not next to me. Me and you're never gonna leave. I'm trying to find a moment where I can find release.
All right, friends. Can everyone hear me? Are we back? Give me a thumbs up in the stream. Actually, in the keyboard chat, because otherwise I won't know. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, if you can do both. There we go. Making sure you can hear my audio. Does all live underneath there? It looks like. Okay, let's see if I can do this correctly. Cool. Let's see. Oh, interesting. See here if I can do this the way that I want. There we go. Actually, it's all of those. Those are all of the pages. Amazing. That's actually great. That's the entire set of pages I need to reference. So I want friends. So YouTube says I'm streaming at 720. Can I go higher? Video. Can I? Oh, you want full HD quality? Upgrade now. I'm using Restream at the moment. So currently I'm at 720. I could probably go to 1080. I'm trying out the different tools. So that would be why I'm at 720. Can I go higher so my screen is more legible? Unfortunately, at the moment, no. But I can try. Actually, well, let me see here. Let me see what I can do. I can. It's just money is the question. What happens if we do this? How is this going to charge me? Oh, that's fine. Okay. Let's see if this solves the problem in a moment. Oh, I know why. Hmm. We'll have to do it later. It took me a little bit more work than I expected it would. But hopefully we won't be showing a lot of tiny text. But maybe we will. Let me just, yeah. Okay, so let me just see something really quick over here. That's what I want right there. Okay. All right, we'll get this squared away. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Understand what's happening. So, unfortunately, for some reason, every single card is acting up on the Restream site at the moment. So, all right, Rovo can work with or without AI enabled. Please demo when it is enabled and disabled. Sure, I think yeah, that's a very good point. And actually, I don't know how easily I can do that. Let me take a quick look here. Because what we would do is effectively, all right. I don't know how quick. I mean, I have a lot of sites. Give me 1 second here. There's a way I can do this. Yeah, this does not have every product. So let's find one that does. There we go. Yep. Switch to admin. Yes. Using Atlassian's administrator. Oh, Atlassian, you make this so easy. Okay, there we go. Settings, Rovo. All right, Rovo is activated on this site. AI enabled apps are all enabled. Let's go ahead and disable the AI. Oh my goodness. Fine. Every time, of course. There's also a page that we'll talk about briefly the difference here. There's certainly a way to know the difference without going through all of this. Okay, a couple of things to know. Here's the difference right here, and I'll make this bigger because of where we are with the size of stuff. Okay. So, um, without AI activated, you have access to Rovo Search, third-party connectors. So, still connect to Figma, Google, all of those things. But there won't be any AI enabled. Bookmarks, you can set bookmarks. You can use Studio for assets, hubs, and automation. You can't create your own agents. Rovo Chat, so chatting with Rovo, which is AI, is not available. Out of the box, agents aren't available. Answers or knowledge search cards and search are not available. And definitions, where you will get definitions of words, is not available. Well, go, Lena. Enjoy Disneyland Friday. Um, so here's the clear definition. Like each Rovo feature that doesn't use AI: Rovo Search, the bookmarks, where you can bookmark the most things at the top, using Studio for automations, company hubs, and assets. Those are the three. That's what you get. Um, with AI, you get chat. You get asking the natural language questions. You get to use the agents. You get to have the knowledge cards and definitions. So that's the difference between the two. In terms of the way that they look in a situation like that, so so what is it going to look like differently? Let's see here. So on the left is no AI. On the right is AI. So first off, we notice Rovo Chat only exists in AI. Over here, we can still do enterprise search, but like you can't ask these like questions. You can add multiple different things, like different tools that we could add into enterprise search in admin if you wanted to. Um, as I said, also, if we selected a page over here, let's go. I don't even know what's in here. Here, there's a page. I could bookmark this. Not sure, truthfully. Let's do can't spell today. There you go. Add a bookmark. So I can still add bookmarks. So that's a thing that I can do just like I can over here. If I searched project plan, add a bookmark for the project plan. Well, fine. I know I have to add a bookmark URL. Let me grab one. So I can add those, right? That's still a thing that we can totally do. But we don't have I can't ask like if I try to ask a question over here, like versus over here, you get AI and you don't get AI. Um, Marcy, any other questions? I think that's a pretty good overall, like clear example of the way these things are going to look different. If you go into Studio, where we were before, go to Studio. It's going to pop me to another page for that one. That has agents in it for the one with AI. If I go to Studio, one without AI, well, which studio am I in? ZK2i? Ah, there it is. Won't let me do it. Will not let me do it. Service agents probably also won't let me do it in a minute. Let's see here. Yeah, could not save. Error occurred. So you can't. Yeah, you'd have to activate AI for your organization to get access to it. Oh my God. Any other questions on that? Oh, that thing is the data center connector available, and have I used it? Data center connector for Rovo is available, I believe. Let me confirm. Yeah, it's in the latest version of Confluence, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, it's available. What? Here's what I want. Ah, here it is. 9.2.6 LTS, it's available. So 9.2 LTS, it's available. And then it's also available in Confluence 10. For Jira, is available. Oh, that's Jira Data Center in Jira. Jira 11 is where Jira Data Center availability. Yep, Jira Data Center required version is 11. So those are available. Can AI be enabled on the cloud instance and disabled at the site? No, it'll be enabled. I mean, yes, on the cloud instance, it's enabled on the site. So the site is the collection of all the different products. You can enable AI for individual products inside of a site. So, for example, uh, so we can go in here, we can go to settings, we can go to AI enabled apps, and we can enable an individual app. So I can enable just Jira Service Management. Yep. Anything else? If not, Susan, we can start to work on your stuff and see how it goes. Because I definitely am going to prompt. I'm going to vibe code my way through half of it, and then we're going to go from there. What do you think? And just so we all know what we're working with, let's talk about what we did last time with this. So, Susan, you're still around, right? Cool, great. So, let's go ahead and take a look here. So settings, just so folks can see what we built last time in our automation. Well, owned by me. There we go. Update color with other. So we wrote a automation action that when a request type is IT help and the colors equal other, or when when the field colors equals other and the other custom field is not empty, then basically add a new value to the um, option, to the custom field option. So basically, add the new value to the custom field options, so that you don't have to do this manually. If it's good, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to update the field to a new one. And then what we want to do after that is honestly reorder them to alphabet. So what I'm going to do is explain this to Claude and give it an idea. Help build a Forge automation action that can do the following. That has the following logic. User selects a Jira custom field name and context from the action UI. User checks a box on whether to so user enters text or smart variable into a text box for the input for the custom field option. User checks a box on whether to then update the user enters text or smart variable. User enters text or smart variable or selects custom field. Custom field from the UI dropdown. Add the whether to then update the source for the source. Let's see here. How do I explain this? This is help build a forge automation action that works the following way. Yeah, so we're prompting now. This is much like we were looking at with the Rovo stuff. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. I should show that. Whoops, that's my bad. Share, replace screen sharing with this window. That works the following way. Okay. 1, input. This is going to be custom field of type short text. Should either take smart variable of the field or allow UI custom field selection. I guess it's worth custom field of single drop down type and so custom field of single drop down type, custom field context. Constants are site URL. Oh, that's actually going to be a variable. Oh, this is, yeah, okay, so I'm basically, what's wild here is I'm just so everybody knows, I'm basically writing the code without writing the code. Destination field context. Site base URL is going to be, actually, it's funny. I should probably just do it like this. Source field. It's going to be the custom field like that. Destination field. Custom field of the single drop-down type needs to be in that format. Destination field context. Custom field. This is custom field context for destination field. Base URL. Uh, of Atlassian site. Let's see here. Oh no, I didn't want those done. Okay. So there's the variables. The constant. I mean, the site-based URL is actually going to be a constant technically. So those are constants. Site URL. API endpoint. Yeah, that's a variable too. I guess it's true in a different way. Site base URL is the base URL of the site. Would like UI selection with name. I guess this is a constant. I always get confused. One site base URL. So that's going to be the base URL of the site. API endpoints. Add custom field option. That's going to be all right. So then the other API endpoint we need. So there's what's fun and the benefit in doing this is I'm actually mostly abstracting away the UI really at this point. All right, let me switch over to this. So I want the documentation for the Jira Cloud Platform REST APIs. Didn't need all that, but it does give us an idea of what we're going to do here in a minute. I just want that. And then what I'm going to do is cool. Yep. So for update, I'm going to grab this URL. Okay, then I need to do authentication and authorization page. Async operations. Well, actually, here, I'm going to take this. Okay, and then. Oh, interesting. Conversation branches. Wild. Didn't know about that. Okay, let's think about this. So then the following. So. Oh, here, I'll just do this. So quick way, value should value should be. Okay, here's the logic. The XGI for destination coverage. It's just my variable in the field has the custom for the or selects the custom field. User enter text or smart variable or selects custom field you dropped down for the source field option. User checks a box on then whether to update user checks a box on whether to then update the gotcha. The destination field value on the given work item rather than to delete the contents, the source field, and 5, user checks a box on whether to alphabetize or to reorder the options for the custom field to alphabetize them. Okay. Other URLs that need to be used are going to be the Forge, UI kit components, not UI kit 1. UI kit components. Here we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna be like, start here in the user interface, go where you need to, and source and low and child pages. Automation modules. We want this. Probably the common modules. And Oh, just the general modules page and child pages. And then the most up-to-date manifest page. I don't think. And anything else at all right. Now I put this all together myself. One way we could do this, again, I'm doing this thing where I'm not showing you guys the right thing. Sorry, damn. Replace screen sharing. All right, let's get in here to Claude. So I put this whole thing in here. I say use the documentation of the following pages to help build a Forge automation action that allows someone to select a custom field. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Yeah, select a custom field and custom field context, and update that custom field to context. I'm just making a comment here. Update that custom field context option with the value of a separate text custom field, and then provides options for deleting the text custom field's value on the specific work item, updating the work item with the new custom field option, and reordering the custom field options to alphabetical. Here's some more detail on how I think this would work. Source field, destination field context, base URI. Here's these different URLs. This should probably also be here. But here's the concepts of how the logic would work, URLs to build in this, and then it says anything else in this URL tree down here that you think would be helpful. And I'm using Sonnet at the moment. There's a lot going on here, but I'm hoping with all the details I gave it, this will be helpful. All right, let's see what it does. Cool. So it starts by actually going and checking these API things that I give it so that it can understand those pages. Yeah, yeah, it's got to look with more detail. The magic of AI. Well, the cool thing is, while it's doing that, let me just show you what we can see here. What did it search? It got that page. Then it searched for more specific stuff on exactly what it needed, right? Then it got a specific page here on the EAP that I gave it. Then it got another specific page here, like the full UI kit, right? This one was the automation action EAP, exactly the details on how that worked. Then it did a research on getting custom field lists and their contexts. Now it built this whole automation action. So there's a bunch of different files in here. It's just all code. So there's the structure that you would create out. And basically what it's got here, and we'll walk this through this to just see what it says and see if we think it's going to make sense. So it transfers text values from source fields to drop-down options. Supports field selection with user-friendly names in the UI. Manages the custom field context properly. Provides options for updating the work items, deleting the source values, and reordering options alphabetically. Smart configuration UI. So dynamic dropdowns are populated with actual custom fields from your Jira instance. That's awesome. It filters source fields to text types and destination fields to drop down and select types. That's the thing that I put as a constraint in, since we were working with single selects and then we're adding text. Like that's a nice clean way to be like, which types do we want to be using? So you don't need to figure out all of the compatibility. And then the context selection loads automatically when you choose a destination field. So it'll automatically load the different custom field contexts when you choose the destination field. Has real-time form validation with error messages. It uses the API endpoints that I specified. Proper error handling with detailed audit log messages. Handles edge cases like duplicate options and empty values, and then uses request Jira from the Forge Bridge API, which is good. That's how we should be doing it for authenticate API calls. How does it work? The UI lets users select fields by name from the dropdowns and converts them to the required field format internally. It reads the source field value from a current issue, adds it as a new option to the destination field context if it doesn't exist, optionally updates the work item with the new option, optionally deletes the source field value, optionally reorders all options alphabetically. API integration, it uses the inputs that I gave, so made sure that it's using the right ones. And then it uses these variables, and we'll have to make sure that that's everything we need because it's possible I didn't include everything, plus the checkboxes for the optional behaviors. So basically what we would do now is we would go ahead and create, so here's the structure, right? And fun thing that I could do is that I could tell Claude to go ahead and actually create all these files on my computer. And it would go ahead and create them. And in fact, yeah, I could do that. I might just do this manually when I do it. But what it's doing here, so let's walk through this just so folks understand. So in the the YAML manifest, there's some things you have to do. So let's take a look at what a good manifest looks like. Actually, we're going to do some flipping back and forth here between screen shares. Oh, actually, you know what? I didn't even think about this. Wow, this would be cool. Hold on. Copy this. And just duplicate it. There we go. Okay, there we go. And then over here, I could share a different screen. Oh no, you just get to share the one screen. Okay, that's not as fun. It'd be pretty cool if I could have two different windows in two different places and switch between them. Yeah, they're the same. Okay, so that's not as cool, but that's okay. So Manifest. This doesn't actually contain all the stuff I think that I need in a manifest. As I look at it right now, no. Well, modules, action, function, it does, but like it. So it's very weird. The way that this. So the manifest is basically the way that your thing knows, like Forge knows how the things work. So app, ID, licensing, like modules. There's a bunch of particular things, app modules and permissions, all required. So I do have app. We do have app permissions. Oh, interesting. It has an old Atlassian Connect module. Don't know why that's in there. I have to look that up. But and actions, modules and action. And you see module action is underneath modules. So that's tied to the automation action provider. So it also, so you can see what do we need here. App requires ID. You give this. Oh, actually, it's actually no, you don't. This is a generated thing, so that's wrong. This is why you always check. Um, what else we got here? So here's the permissions that it needs. Also, other things it doesn't have here, like runtime. We need to declare the runtime under the app. So I would take this manifest and rewrite it because it's not exactly the way that it needs to be. But we're just going to take a look here. So under modules, um, oh, it does this in weird orders. Okay, packaging. Doodly 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 doodly. Does it probably each one overview? Yeah, here we go. Modules. I'm just going to talk through over here. So the different modules that we're going to be using. The module that we're using here is the automation module. So that automation module, the action module, is automation action provider. The key is this is mandatory. The string custom field manager action custom field provider actions custom field manager. Then the action itself. The key there, the name, the description of it, the action verb update. That's what we're going to be doing. So the verb is basically sort of a definition of what we're using there. It's only used by Rovo right now, so you don't really need to worry about it, but you do have to put it in weirdly. A single app is allowed to define up to 20 automation actions, so we're just using one right here. The function is where the actual code is going to live in the custom field handler. Config has some inputs here. So that's to the form to provide additional context during the action. So under config, the resource, the string is going to be config UI. This is required if this is a reference to the resources entry that the context menu app is going to display. So we'll get to that. Render native. This should actually be, you're going to put native in. I think you have to just put native in there. It means that it's going to use Atlassian's built-in UI kit, which is the right way to do this. Inputs property. So what are the inputs? Source field, the source field custom ID. It's going to be a string. Is it required? True. Yes. The custom field ID containing the text value to transfer. Destination field, that's the other one. The destination field context. Yep. Update work item. Yes. So you either yes or true or false. Delete source value. So these are all the different pieces we needed. And then we go back up and we look under modules. The next module is the function, the forge function. So that calls out, they do that weird. Like it's a common module, I think it is. Function, yes. Your definitions for the function here. I'm looking at this. How does it do? Yes, the key of the function and the handler. The runtime is not required. So yeah, that's the key and the handler. The key is the name of the function. The handler, it basically says where it is in your in your path? Like how do I find this function that I'm going to run? Back up at the top as we look at this, we're going to look at the resources that we're including. So list of the resources used by the app. So key, config UI, and then this is the path. So this is the relative path from the top level directory of your app that contains the resources. So this is the user interface that we're using. For UI kit, we're just going to be including config.jsx. Why is we doing that? I don't know. I didn't think we'd need to link to what is using config.jsx? Let's see here. The resource is config UI. Maybe some static resources. That might be why. It probably is, yes. The app there, the permission, we talked about the ID is wrong here. We'd also need to add a runtime. The permissions, this is important. What can your thing do? It can read Jira. So read Jira work. What are our permissions here? This is always fun. Gyroscopes. Read Jira work can read Jira project and issue data. Search for issues and objects associated with issues like Jira attachments and work logs right back there. So those would be how we would get information from our Jira issues and write them back to our Jira issues. There's got some granular stuff in here too, which is read field Jira. So this is reading custom field or reading fields and writing fields. What is interesting here is it didn't look like some things that are not in here that I think are required. I'm trying to see where this. Basically, these are more granular because we would need read field configuration or field option and write field option and read field contextual configuration. So if you're going to use those granular ones, you need that. The other thing that we could use as an example is manage Jira configuration. That lets you manage all of the Jira configuration. And it's using Atlassian Connect here modules for the post install. I am confused about why that's the case. I guess we'll figure that out later when we put it in, or I will go back and take a look here at the top here in the manifest. I think that should just be just connect, but I still want to know what is going on with that. So package.json, this is a new file. And is there anything else that we needed to have in our manifest? Let's see here. I think that's probably correct. Yep, resources, the environment, variables. We're not doing that. Translations, yeah, that would be correct generally. So this package.json basically declares all of the Forge. So this right here is like the name of the app. I don't know why it's doing package.json this way. This would actually normally get generated. What's weird is just doing it because it's writing it manually. It would do this. What I would do is I would use the Forge CLI, generate the scaffolding for the Forge automation action, and then start pasting things in. Here's the dependencies that it needs. So these are the packages that it needs. And it needs the CLI for dev only. For production, it doesn't need the CLI because the CLI is how we interact with it as devs. And then here comes our code for the index. So import request Jira from Forge Bridge. So that's bringing that in so that we can call things to Jira and route just from the basic API thing. What this does is how does the custom field handler work? So what this does, custom field handler evoked with payload. This is where I get broken a little. So what it's going to do, here's the constant, which is source field, destination conflict. So this equals the payload, this thing right here. So it's going to take in the information that we're giving it from the UI, the source field, the destination field context, and then these, or we'll set them. It's giving a default value. Then here it's like, is the source field basically like, are we missing any of these? That's what those exclamation points mean. Is this empty? Is this empty? Or this empty? If so, call it out. get the current issue. So it's going to get the issue key. If it doesn't have an issue key or problem, it's going to call that out. Then it's going to get the source field value from the current issue. So it's going to go get the information from that field. Yep. And then it's going to, if there's nothing there, call it out. It's storing source value in there. You'll see here. Get the options here. So now it's going to do await get custom field options, and get custom field options is actually going to probably be defined lower. Let me see here. Yeah, here's the helper function right here. Get custom field options. So it takes in the field ID and the context ID, and then what does it do is it calls, using the request Jira, it calls to get the context ID and the field ID. And if the response is not good, then it does a bad thing. Otherwise, it puts the information in, the correct information. Also have the helper function here to add an option. And that's this right here. Here's the helper function to reorder. And then also extracting the ID. So these are the special functions that are sort of like, that we then use in our main code. Up here, these are like step by step by step. It uses those helper options at the bottom. Because I believe for JavaScript, it reads the whole file and then works through things. Unlike things like Python, where it operates in order. So you put all of your helper stuff and functions up top. Otherwise, or you can thread something and say, like, when you get to main, use main. But like, order of operations often matters. So I think this looks mostly correct. I would go through and test these things and put them all together. The front end, ooh, all these things. I don't know. I'm not very good at front end stuff. So I would dump this all in and see if it worked. And then if it didn't, I would start yelling at Claude to be like, Claude, what's going on? But you can see here, like, load the context for the field at a certain period. Like, it does these little step by step. So it builds the form right here, and then starts to and sets the different states of things. This whole use state thing is wild. Atlassian actually has a really great documentation on use state. But yeah, I mean, this is effectively, I mean, this is wild. I'm just like, oh, this is the code. Like, you can see all of this stuff for getting the things and loading them into the form is all of this. Let's see if we can figure out what that install thing is. Installation and setup, GeForce. So that. Yeah, I still have a question about like that weird. This check gets the context of the product so that it has information about the product, which helps you when you're going to do things in the form. It knows which product you have, and the render sets that stuff. You get, and also any of this stuff that we're confused about when we're working through this, like for example, context selection. I'm just going to select this and I'm going to hit explain. And Claude is going to explain to me how this works. So, watch destination field comes from watch destination field, which is probably somewhere else up here. Yeah, destination field. So it monitors the currently selected destination field, and then the context only appears after we get to load them. So then select says register the field with the form validation. So this is going to be what the field is and make it required true. Populates it and then updates the form state immediately when the user makes a selection. And like, it'll walk you through the way the code works. It's not guaranteed to be perfect, But what it often will do, and I mean, and you can use the larger models like Opus, it's very smart, but it will give you the ability to ask more intelligent questions as you're working through stuff. And you might be like, okay, help me understand. You might be like, I don't understand this one piece. Like, I don't understand this use effect hook thing. Well, now I can go look up the use effect hook and like watch a YouTube video on it and understand what it does and how it works, and then come back and understand that in the context of what I'm doing here. React, we're using use state and use effect from React, but then we're using the Forge reconciler to do these other pieces. Those are two different pieces. Like one is coming from React, the base React package. The other one is coming from the Forge package. Some of these things you can learn in the Forge, like get started with Forge stuff is really helpful there. But like this base learnings will set you up on the right path for like learning about React will set you up on the base, and JavaScript will set you up to be able to develop any of these things. So Susan, I got to be honest, Susan, I'm nervous to try. I'm nervous to try this. I'm worried it's not going to work. And actually, partially the reason I'm a little nervous to try is I still do not completely. Let's just be absolutely honest here. I don't understand completely the way that like all of the Atlassian CLI environments and things work. Like when you go to the documentation, that's one of the first things we're going to learn from folks is like they have a whole introduction to Forge and they have a whole learning section and they have guided tutorials. But like one of the things that I like, how does this work? How do I develop with Forge? Well, Lars is actually working on some great content. Like, how do you set all of this up? You know, and then my thing is like this environment configuration thing. It automatically creates these special environments. They're where you deploy your app, and they are different than. Oh, I'm doing the thing again. Let me switch. Man, someone's got to call me out. Here we go. So yeah, this is amazing stuff over here. Like great videos from Lars, the new principal developer advocate. The environment configuration. I had to learn this. Environments are where you deploy your app in Atlassian's managed hosted infrastructure Forge. They are not where you install your app. You install your app on sites or instances. So you could install your development version of your app on multiple different instances from the same development environment. And you should always use your production one to deploy your production environment. And so all of these each little pieces, like one thing I would recommend to people if you're going to be getting into Forge, you want to learn some of this. First of all, I just want to say one thing really truly. I know, actually, let me switch out of this. I want to go, this is to Bryan talking to you directly. I know this can seem incredibly overwhelming. Absolutely. 110%. Mind bogglingly, heart stoppingly overwhelming. I am 43. I think I've been trying to learn how to program for like 20 something years and always got overwhelmed because I didn't know how to move to the next step. And I didn't know what would the end result look like. This is where AI is so helpful. You can get 90% of the way there with AI. Even if it's mostly wrong, that's okay. You can then find the things that are wrong and focus on the wrong things and then ask questions of the AI for the right things, and then go check the answers to make sure that they're right. We know AI can be wrong, but you always like it helps you get the feedback loop faster, so you don't feel like I'm just sitting and typing random letters into the keyboard hell place for like forever. So I just want to like really, really, really encourage everyone to not be too overwhelmed by this, to be comfortable not knowing everything. Um, Folks, give me a shout out really quick if you are a meditator or somebody who has done any mindfulness meditation. I'm definitely one of those people. I wonder if anybody else is one of those people. Oh, Susan, we're not going to be done, by the way. We are going to keep going. That's totally like, because it's important for me to show people that being nervous and not knowing what you're doing doesn't have to stop you from being able to make an app. I think one of the things so many of us don't realize and don't understand is that every developer literally sits around saying, "Oh my God, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm so confused. I don't know what I'm doing." Like that's just like such a normal experience for people. Oh, great. Susan, you do some meditation. Susan, do you remember the first time that you realized that meditation was about the moment, was not about being successful, but was about what you did when you quote unquote failed? Like when you realized that meditation was not actually about always being able to about being able to clear your mind as much as it was about recognizing when you got distracted and then coming back to the breath. Because that is exactly what software development is. Software development is not about knowing all of the things, or like you're going to go through like you're going to go through a little course or a thing, you're going to learn things, you're going to remember it. You are going to learn you're going to learn so many things and you're going to forget every single one of them, and you will not remember them when you need them. And then you will look it up again, and then you will forget it again, but you will use it in that moment because you look it up and you'll put it in, and you'll forget it again, and you'll do that like 150 more times. And then suddenly you'll remember that one. And some will be easier and some will be harder. But ever since I started to talk to more of my software developer friends who explained to me that they spend all of their time looking up stuff as well. They spend all of their time being like, I think I should know this, and I don't even remember how to do this. Am I even a software developer? What do I know what I'm doing? It's just like that. Just like for any of us who's been administrators for Atlassian products for any length of time, nobody remembers all of the ways to configure things. Nobody remembers the difference between a field configuration scheme or a field configuration screen scheme, or a custom field screen scheme, or a screen scheme. Like nobody remembers all of these things. Like our secret is the internet. And after 20 years, you start to remember things. After 10 years, you start to remember things. After 5 years, you start to remember things. This is also why people complain so much about Atlassian changing things, especially in UI, because so much becomes muscle memory because it's so big. But I just like want to encourage everybody that all of this is just about banging your head against the wall a million times and being like, all right, we're going to put some salve on there and we're going to go back and we're going to keep doing it. And we're going to keep learning slowly. So this thing that we're doing, like the UI space is the part where I'm so terrified still. Like I don't understand React at all. And me, Bryan, the person, tends to want to understand the fundamentals of everything before starting. And if I would do that, then I would have to go back 20 years and like start with the fundamentals of software development. Because the problem is, as me now, I will get bored 20 minutes into the fundamentals of software development. I won't keep doing it. So we just have to be okay with learning backwards. And that's how most developers do. They have an idea, they build it with what they know, and they make mistakes, and then they go back and they just keep doing that. So I just know that I was getting a little overwhelmed. And I just wanted to share with folks that like that's so incredibly natural to get overwhelmed like that. And to feel like it's so much to do, that's okay. And that's like that is actually not only okay, it's expected, it's natural, it's normal. And if you didn't get overwhelmed, I think there was something weird with you. Okay, here, let's do this. Let's take another break because it's been a little while. So let's take another 15-minute break, and then we'll come back. We'll see if anybody else has any questions. If other people don't have questions about anything else that's going on, then we will hop in and try to slowly work on building this app and see where it goes, Susan. Because I don't have anything else to do except probably finish sending out the roundup tonight, but I can do that tonight. I have to think and write things. So let's take another break. I'll put some more music on. And yeah, we'll be back in about 15.
He's better at school than me, and he's captain of the team, and he's kind and loved. I text that I'm here and he shows, calls me Mario, and his face gets flushed. Everybody wants He's better at school than me, and he's captain of the team, and he's kind and loved. I text that I'm here and he shows, calls me Mario, and his face gets flushed. Everybody wants to be him, everybody wants to be his, everybody wants to be where I am at this restaurant now. We barely touch both our plates, our fingers touch when he pays, and on the street he kisses my cheek, and I say, I appreciate that. Why did I say that? I tell my friends that I think he's the one. In just a week that felt like 3, I think it's love. And when I dip my toes in what this could become, it's cold, but I'm not freezing. I'm jumping in the deep end. He wants to be the president. I write songs about him. When he smiles, I gleam. He messes up my sleep schedule, calls me where did he go? And I ask what that means. Everybody wants to be him, everybody wants to be his, everybody wants to be where I am in his dorm right now. And I overthink the first kiss, I want a good tale for our kids. And on his cue he plays Grace too, cause I have never seen it. And that's when I went head. I tell my friends that I think he's the one. In just a month I think it's time, he's just so on. And maybe I give in to some convincing love bomb. Oh, he's just amazing. We dance to righteous brothers and I wanna cry. I'm jealous of the future me that makes it mine. And everything we conceive is wasted time. Finally has a reason. Jumping in the deep end. And I showed him all my favorite songs, and he turns it up, it turns me on. Cut my tongue in his cheek, and he's looking right at me like I saved him. And he's honest about his past mistakes, and I'm not scared, I'll say the wrong thing. Got his name in forever, shout I'm remarkable together, so I fight it. I meet his family for the very first time, and as we're leaving they pull him off to the side. When he gets in the car I ask him, was it nice? Wait, no, I don't wanna know. He says, I can't say I can show you though. We're getting older but the love stays young. He can't stop speeding to make time for you, know what? We say I miss you after 3 minutes apart, and he says we should change that. And so we did, and now I wake up and he's there. I'm his first gentleman and he's my biggest fan. One night he takes me to the restaurant where we met, and then he gets real quiet. He reaches in his pocket. I say yes before he asks it. And he says back, I appreciate that. I tell my friends that I am so in love, 'cause we let it go. I text that I'm here and he shows.
Might take you a year to finally fall in love with me, my chérie. I've lost my way, would you come leave? I've called and called and called and called and called for you to just leave me on the sea. I fall, I fall, I fall, I fall, I fall. Every time I'm in your dream. Might take you a year to finally fall in love with me, my chérie. I've lost my way, would you come leave? Baby, slow it down. Keep your eyes on me, oh now, there's no bound. Begging you to talk to me. I've been holding and hoping that you'll be talking the way now. I keep on wishing that you won't be missing from me now. Oh mamacita, ven conmigo, I'm on a ninja. They need to be on my mind. Mighty you, yeah, to finally fall in love with me, my chérie. I've lost my way, would you come lead? I've called and called and called and called and called for you to just leave me unseen. I fall, I fall, I fall, I fall, I fall. Every time I'm in your dream, mighty you, yeah, to finally fall in love with me, my chérie. I've lost my way, would you come lead?
Hello, everyone. Why can't I do that? Why is it weird? Why? How? Oh, because it would cost me more money. And ain't that the way, honey? It always wants to give you clear. Why is it so rough? Money's so expensive. Why I gotta pay $300 to freaking Canva if I want to share things with my friends in an easy way. Oh, it's so annoying. Hello, everybody. I mean, it is cheaper than Canva Pro. All right, I have a special deal. Damn. Really does be that way, huh? All right, friends, where we at? How we doing? How is everyone? What do you want to do? Anything you want to work on? Things you want to try? That's what we're here to do. The Atlassian Clinic. We like to try new things. We're doctors who do surgery on Atlassian instances, on the production. Not really. We do it actually in dev or a sandbox, but still, we're doctors. Hello, I'm the Atlassian Doctor. My name is Bryan Guffey. That was the fun song that I just made up. That was a little terrifying. But here we are. And what do you want to do today? What do you want to learn today? Are we going to keep going down the Forge route? Or are we going to pivot and take a look at something else? What are folks feeling? Anybody? Anybody have an idea of what they want to do today? Are y'all just telling me that we're gonna go back to working on what we've been working on? What do you think? No, that is right. Yes, now. We're going to keep going forward now. Okie dokie. Okay, friends. So, what's the easiest way for me to do this? Probably lots of switching. Well, I can open cursor. All right, let me get a few things set up here. If we're going to get into that world. Like that. New window. New terminal. Can we look at an automation process with calendars? Everybody wants to talk about calendars. I mean, we can try. Be a Emladenka. That may be your name, Emladenka. What can we do with automation in calendars? We might run into the same thing we just did, but we'll find out. Go ahead and talk to me about your use case here. In fact, we're going to try something very specific here. Wait, how do I can't do that. Okay, cool. Well, all right, I was going to try and figure out how to close enough for your name, you mean. Gotcha. Okay. So, tell me your problem. This is where it would be so great. I need to automatically send the agenda to a group while tracking the description of the meeting in the Jira issue. Okay. Let's start here with, we're in studio. Let me share this screen. I don't want to create an agent. I want to create an automation. It's a Confluence automation, a specific space. We're just going to pick a space for right now. Okay. Well, let's start. Are we going to run this on a schedule, or is it being run based on something happening? Oh, where is the calendar source information? Okay. Creation of a page triggers the creation of a work type of meeting. The Confluence page should contain a link to the Jira issue. Okay. Sweet. All right, here we go. Great. So many pages. Right now it just makes pages. That's wild. Okay, when scheduled. Not scheduled. Page created. Published. Page published. Okay. What we're going to do is if as the page auto schedule 10 days before the start of any meeting. Okay. Um 10 days before the start of a meeting in Jira, the work item start and date can be used. All right, so Jira is going to drive this actually. It's going to be driven by a Jira issue. Well, guess what's going to be created first? The Confluence agenda page? This is the thing I want to understand. What is the first thing that gets created? Or is this coming from a calendar, like in a regular calendar, like a Google Calendar, an Outlook calendar? Like, what is the inciting event? All right, so we can start here. As far as I know, let me just check. Hmm. Yeah, I think one of the problems here is you can't access. Okay, ideally the event could come from an Outlook calendar. Okay, so if it's coming from an Outlook calendar, what we're talking about is somebody creating an event and you have an incoming webhook happening. So on the Confluence side, so right now there's no way to create events in a team calendar. It would be nice, but there's not. If you want there to be, go vote for this issue. Currently, there's no way to do a bunch of stuff with team calendars. There's two relevant things that I would vote for, which would be these two. It looks like Atlassian has some thoughts about. It's been forever. It's wild. I mean, Sharif reported this. He's moved on, but yeah, they closed this one because it was a duplicate. Right here. They're gathering interest on this one. Like, here's all these ones to gather interest on. But yeah. Oh, there's an undocumented REST API. Oh, fascinating. Huh. Huh. Hmm. Well, okay. Theoretically, there's an undocumented REST API. We're not going to play with that today. What we will talk about is how you can take an incoming webhook. We'll do our part inside of Confluence, starting with, right? So, incoming webhook. All right, save or enable the rule to get the webhook URL. So, then, okay, so here, we'll just, I need an action, create a Confluence page. Cool. All right, cool. So, by the way, what you would do on the other side is you would probably use, what are they using now? Microsoft, what do they call it? Flow? I think it's called Flow or something. And you would basically send information. You would use this webhook and the secret to send information from Flow. When that basically Flow would be watching on a calendar for events to be created or calendars for events to be created. And when that happens, it would then send this incoming webhook. And then it has information in here about, you can grab the data from the webhook body. Anything provided can get out via parameters. So then what we would do is then we would create, maybe this is in the same space, maybe it's in a different space. That's okay. Enter the page title. The page title could be webhook. Let's say data. Oh. All right, this would be, let's say webhook data dot title. Right. If we're going to use a space, a template space, then we'll have a template in here. Let's say we're doing this, and let's say, and then what we could do is, if we wanted, you could do a couple of ways. If it is possible to pick up an event from the Confluence calendar, at the moment, I don't know if it is. We'd have to look at that undocumented API, which theoretically we could look at. This would be wiki cf rest calendar services 1. Events JSON. That's a put. So that would create a calendar item. Okay, so this is yeah, but does it do a get? Yeah, so I'd have to look at that to see if that even actually works. I don't know that it does, and I'm not going to take it on faith that it does either. There might be more details in here that says oh, this is the thing we might be able to do, but I don't know for sure. So, one way or another, the information is going to come in. We're going to be getting it via a webhook, or you're going to be calling a REST API. There's not an easy way to do it built in, so that's a thing to know. But once it comes in, you can create a page with a certain title. That page is going to have the agenda, so you could use whether it's an all hands. I don't know what type of meeting it's going to be, but we could pick meeting notes. The page will have content from your selected template. You could also use, so it'll just build the template directly. I'm not sure if you can insert information into the template with, let's see here, the publish new page action. The page content field supports sections, more values. So right, okay, so like that's not going to be helpful. But what you could do is you could, yeah, man. Each action accepts specific smart values. Yup. But so the compatible smart values, what there's these options here, and here we have. So you could put some of this stuff in here. The webhook data also exists there. So you could build that out sort of the way that you want, based on the information that comes in. So we create a template page. We don't put any content. It's going to use the selected template. Then what we would do is create work item in Jira. We connect it over to Jira. There we go. We pick the project that we want to work with. And you could do this with like a chain of different types based on what comes in. You could filter like on your if, like if the webhook data dot something has something else, you could put that information in there. But let's say we're just gonna use, I don't have an appropriate type, but we would have a type that was like meeting, right? We'd set the fields that we wanted to set, right? The description could literally be the page AI summary, right? It's an easy way to do that. And this could be page title. And maybe like it could be, I don't know, page title. And then it could also have, maybe there's, yeah, that's probably the most sensible thing at the moment. You could, like the other thing you can do, I think, let me see here. Yeah, you can create variables, but the tricky part is I don't think you can prompt still. No, I can't prompt for things, right? So it's going to need to pull the stuff from what's coming in. It's going to publish that. Like you could create a new variable and then reuse that later. And that could be used, like it might be the date that you're also pulling, and you throw that and then use that date in your title as well. Like, I need you to assign this to, I think you have to like, I'll just leave it unassigned for a minute. Like you can also, because you might need to do some custom work if you want to assign it to a certain person. But then you could do the due date and you could get that from the, this should probably be create date. And this might be, so then you create that work item. And then what you're going to do, and you can do this in a couple ways. You're creating the page first, but you could also create the work item first if you're going to do that. But because you might have a special agenda template, but then because if you did it this way, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to edit the page. And the page that you want to edit is going to be the current page in the rule. We don't want to append, boo. I guess we can only do appending. And but then if the appending, then what you would do would be there we go. All right, you just actually put it in because it's, yeah. Oh, hold on. Right, so maybe, okay, hold on. Okay, you can hear me now. Can you hear me now, Susan? How long was I gone? Are we back? Can we hear me again? Let me know. Okay, how long have you missed me? How long have y'all missed me? We're going to uninstall and reinstall the Forge CLI, first of all, to just get the latest version. Oh, a while, Lord. Okay, did you ever get did we lose me before I gave you the answer about how we could finish creating that workflow in Confluence with the Jira and everything? About 10 minutes. Okay, so I think mostly we were on to Forge, I think. Just to make sure, let me show what we had. Oh, that's the old rule builder. Oh, I saw so many windows. Here we go. So we can take an incoming webhook from probably Microsoft Flow, trigger it off of a Outlook calendar, update, create. You could create a new issue in Jira. You could connect via here in a project. Then you could publish a new page. And like in here, you could set that the title, like right now we're using it when this is reversed this way. You publish a new page directly from the webhook. But then we would have to edit the page after we create this. So the reverse is you could create the Jira ticket. Use your special webhook data dot whatever the stuff that's coming over the different information, and then you could publish a new page and build the info. You could then put the Jira issue created issue URL right in there, and that's how you would do that nicely and easy. Okay, we're back over here. The first thing we need to do, I can't show a web page inside of here. I now want to find if anybody knows of a product that lets you basically create fake virtual windows that you can address using your screen sharing tool. I mean, I'm sure I can do this with OBS. I am trying to stay away from OBS. But what we want to do now is I want to go and look at, all right, so now Forge login. I always forget how we start with Forge. This is an example of how I always forget things, and that's okay. Overview. How do we get started with Forge? Development lifecycle. Developing with Forge. Setup, Node.js. We did that. All right. All right. We are now that we're installed, we can do Forge double version. That's right. What? Well, shouldn't use equals. That would make sense. .12.2, latest version. Exciting. Oh, now I'm on the wrong thing again. Man. I'm gonna have to use the one of these other fancy tools, I think. There we go. Forge version. We're in 12.2. So next step is that we want to log in with an API token. So we go Forge login. My email's already there. Don't know if this token still works. We're going to find out. Logged in. There we go. So now what we would do is go Forge create. Name your app, and we're going to call this custom field automation tool. And automation EAP UI kit automation action. It's gonna do all the things that we need, and it should put this all in a folder for me. We're gonna find out. I also don't even know where I did this in the hierarchy. Normally, you. Good job, Bryan. We are absolute professional today. I got to tell you, I'm really proud of myself. Let's see. Shirley did do it right there. Okay, well, we can move that folder. Okay. But anyway, so now if I open this project here, just so y'all see, I put it in the wrong place, but what we have here are git ignore here, which says like ignore all these files. Don't show them. Like don't send them up to the cloud. Just don't do it. These should do everything in node modules. Yep, that's correct. And dist. Here's where we're going to spend most of our time, which is in source and the manifest. So here's the manifest. Here's the built out basic manifest. All right, so here's the key. Here's the first action it gave. It gave us a bunch of names already. All right, automation action, add comment to issue. This is just boilerplate. So we can look at the boilerplate that it has here. For example, here, front end UI here that lets you basically gather the information for the comment form. So setting a form, default values are the inputs, and get values, constant updated form. If it changes, if you hit change something, it goes and grabs the new updated form data. That's how that works, so that it gets the new information here. On change, and then it builds this little form here. You can see issue key, comment field, whatever comment register props are. There's probably definition in the Forge documentation for that. Yeah. So here's the UI, which basically lets you put in the issue key and the comment. that you want to have. This is like our other UI sort of example. And you can see here, if you try to do something, like it'll require you to put in an issue key or a comment. So the resolver is doing some hello world stuff right now. This is a great, probably a demo that they have here for the UI stuff in here, but like actions, right? Index.js. So here's the post, right? So here's where you're going to actually, here you can see add Jira comment. So on the front end index.jx, SX, if we look for an on submit, handle submit, on submit, where's the definition for that? There it is, on submit data, view submit data. But here's like your little action, add your comment. Here's your automation action. And you can see that if we go into the manifest, action, function, add comment to issue. Inputs has a resolver. The handler is index.add comment. So we go to index. Oh, here it is. The add function, add comment right there. And add comment, the function encloses the add Jira comment constant. And also, if you look here, there's also an automation resolver, which is, I don't know what the point of the resolver is, except that I think that it's default behavior in there. Again, here's your front end static code, index.jsx, which front end right here. So that's your form right here. So this is basically the form. Use form gives you some fields to use, and then you can use. I'm going to stack them, vertical layout. We're going to use text. We're going to use the product context, the error message, and then a text field and a box that we can do some design stuff in. And so we call all those in, and then we put the box in, and we have the form, the stack, for the space for the issue key. If it changes, it's going to reload the issue key there. If there's no issue key, it'll give you an error. Then the comment, same thing with the comment values. Then your stack, that's closing out that for your vertical stack. You're in your form and you're in your box. That's how you build your like your UI form here. And it's only using this add comment here. Export const handler. I don't know why it's using this resolver for anything at this point, but yeah. This node modules thing is all the stuff that it needs to do its work, and a lot of stuff gets pulled in when you're working with when you're working with when you're working with Node.js. Like the biggest thing that we're worried about for our AI summer camp coming up is that. And in fact, since we're wrapping up, like I'm going to keep building this stuff out because we have this. So what I want to do actually is, now that we have our structure, we'll start by pasting in these different pieces that are in Claude. And in the different pieces that it recommends that we put in. And then, so a couple of things. One, Forge has a built-in linter, which will check to see if there's any code errors automatically. Cursor has some of the same things, like Visual Studio Code. But we had identified some particular issues. I know there's some issues on the permission scopes I want to fix. We're not sure what this point of the post install module is here. In fact, explain that to me right now. Ha! See, look at that. Look at that. It was wrong. So now it's rewriting the code because it was wrong. I realized that. There we go. And it explains itself, so it fixed it. And I'll probably ask it the same thing here and be like, I think you're missing some. I can actually use improve and say, hey, improve this. But yeah, all right. So now let's run through the few things that we have coming up that are important. Once again, folks. All right. So let me switch screens. And we'll just walk through a few things that I'd love for you to do. First of all, if you haven't yet, oh, it's the wrong one. I have to collapse all this stuff together. We're getting there. All right. If you haven't come through here to my YouTube page, please do. And go ahead and smack that subscribe button. And then hit that. Make sure that bell is set to all. Number 2, why don't you come on through and go to the unofficial roundup and make sure you get information about about the ecosystem each week. Tons of great information. You can go right to unofficialroundup.com. And then smack that subscribe button. Put your name and email address in. It's free. Doesn't cost any money. Hey, Z, what's up?
Hey, Ryan. Actually, it seems like most of the dogs are in, but one of them is actually out here barking at me. I'm curious if you can bring them in.
Oh, yeah. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll be right back. It sounds like one of our dogs is out in the middle of our and our poop guy's here. I'll be right back. Oops, sorry, slow motion. Okay, friends, sorry about that. Last couple things. The roundup, sign up for the roundup. Also, two other things. Make sure you head to AI Summer Camp, this page here. Drop this in. Oop, that's not it. We've got AI Summer Camp, a date coming up in LA here. That's going to be great. And then also, we have the Atlassian Builder Summit coming up 2 months after that. And make sure you register for that as well. Also, always you can get to ace.atlassian.com. A lot of great, cool things happening there. That's where this is. That's where many of you may have come from. But you can go there. You can go to learn and check out the community-led classes, company user groups, and earn an Atlassian certification, but also find events all across the country and connect with other users like you. Thank you all so much. I will see y'all next Wednesday from 2 to 5 p.m. And like I said, next Friday, we'll be kicking off Forge Fridays. Yes, absolutely. I'll get that together. I'm going to post that stuff, Susan. It's coming soon. All right.